everyone. It's great to be back with you. I decided to make a soap. When all else fails, I can make a soap. Now, we'll tell you, this soap almost turned into a fail. Because Patrick, me, I did not have the temperature of my lye and my oils at even a close temperature. Completely my fault. I just wasn't feeling my 100%, and I didn't do a great job of measuring it out, of taking the temperature, I should say. And the temperature of my lye was about 140, and the temperature of my oils was about 70. So you figure out what's going to happen here, right? And it took me a moment before I realized what I had done. It wasn't until I actually added the stick blender and I was like, this shouldn't be happening. But it did. But, I decided to just go with it. I rode with it, and what starts out looking like a real tragic mess really turned into a beautiful soap. Once again, this is one of the things that I love about soaping, is how you can take tragedy and turn it into success. And I don't know, it's just, I feel good to be making a soap. I felt kind of cruddy the last day or two, and felt a little better today because I've got a doctor's appointment tomorrow finally to get things taken care of. And so I'm in a rather good mood that finally I'm getting this thing resolved. So here you're going to see me stick blending, and I'm thinking, la la la, I'm just going to go to a very light trace here, and then I realize about here that something doesn't feel right. So I'm thinking, oh well, it just isn't well blended, there's just something down in there. But what you can't see is just, maybe you're beginning to see it, just below the surface of that oil on top is pudding. Do you see that? Well, so obviously I have to continue mixing it because this is a false trace, and if you don't continue mixing it, the lye isn't going to be well incorporated into the oils, and thus you're not going to have a proper soap. You're going to end up with lye pockets and all of those things. So I had to continue on, which I did. As I'm pouring it into all of these containers, I realize my idea of doing in the pot kind of a funnel pour. Sorry, I blanked out for a moment. I realized that was all going right down the pot because there's no way this thick stuff was going to incorporate. But I decided to just push through. Mixing the colors in was, of course, more challenging because it was this pudding. But I just stuck with it until it was all well blended. Of course, I realized this wasn't working right from the beginning as soon as I poured that first bit. But I'm not a quitter. So I just decided I'm going to go with it. I'm going to ride through this and pour the colors as if it's thin as water and dropping down into that white. Of course, what I'm realizing almost as soon as I started was that I'm going to have to turn this into an in-the-pot swirl. That it's simply not going to do what I want it to do. If I were to just take this as it is and pour it into the mold, I would just have some black blobs and maybe some light gray blobs and some white blobs, but it just wasn't going to be what I wanted. So I decided, why not just follow through? Because this is sort of the way this injury has been. I've had to just fight through it. Things haven't gone the way I wanted. It's been a big blobby mess. But I'm still here. I'm still smiling and laughing. So this soap is kind of an homage to that. Because it is a blobby mess. Hands up, right? So yeah, a good pound down there. Like that's going to make any difference, right? So in goes the spatula. And I just decided I'll just go for it and see what happens. What really ended up happening, by the way, as you can see, is that my beautiful indigo blue ended up turning into more of a gray because of the mixture of the black and the white. And it, I wanted more light, beautiful ribbons, and I ended up with something different. But sometimes different is wonderful. Except when someone's big, bushy hair gets in the way. That is not so wonderful. It's different, but it's not so wonderful. So at this point, I'm getting what color I have left well stirred, and I'm going to try to pour down my stripes so that I can do something with the top. See how that works out. So I did my very best here to make this come out a liquid, which was a real challenge, I will tell you. It took a lot of work. So I just went through this, each color as I could, scraping and pushing it, forcing it out into stripes. And it was a challenge. This stuff did not want to cooperate. Which is why you want your lye and your oils always at the same temperature. If you've learned anything else from this, I hope you've learned that. And to keep your hair out of the camera view, I promise you, I'm going to come up with some way to do this. I did just get a haircut recently. I know you look at that and it looks like a shrub or a Brillo pad, but it just does that. But I also need some kind of new location for the camera. I'm not sure how I'm going to accomplish it. Maybe I need to lower it, then zoom out, and that way the camera's below my head and it will still get I think that's what I'm going to have to do if I can. I'll try it and we'll see what happens. So I was actually really pleased. There are some really nicely defined lines in here. Now, they don't show up as great here, but after the cure, as you can see in the photograph that I took, they really do look great. And you can see the blue. Here it looks more gray, but there really is a nice blue tint. So it truly is black and blue and white and gray. It's kind of a mix. And I made these much larger bars. These are about 1.5 inches actually. So I'm only cutting 7 bars out of here. But I like them like that. I think I'm going to start cutting all my bars larger. Makes for a smaller group, but I like them. I really do like the size. And I was so concerned with how this pattern would come out. And look, it's great. So I want to thank you all for your well wishes, and your kind words and comments have meant the world to me these last few days. I never really got bummed out. I'm angry at a few people in the medical field, but I'm not depressed. I'm actually in a pretty good mood, and a lot of that's because, well, I've got the support of all of you, and I also have I think I have an overall pretty positive outlook on all this. I know it's going to turn out okay. And sort of like with the soap, a few bumps, but the ultimate outcome, hey, I think it's great. I hope you enjoy it too. So leave me a comment, thumbs up if you would, and let me know what you think. I appreciate you all so much. Have a terrific day. Goodbye.